Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto, Willies. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto, Willies, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the United States of America. And of course, good morning to the entire world receiving our signals via the magic of El Internet created by we the people and formerly known as the ARPANET. Before we get busy with a very important show, let's get busy and get to the people who make this thing happen in the studio. Senor Howard Reynolds and Jack Van Bibber. How you doing, my dear brothers?
We are here. We're here today. It is Wednesday morning at the radio, the 27th of August of 2025, and I have a small rant here this morning. I was scrolling through Facebook yesterday, and I saw a drawing of Joe McCarthy and a quote from him about liberals, taking a swipe at liberals. I thought, we're going to dig this man up. Does anybody know what Joe McCarthy really stood for and what he really was and how many people he destroyed? Serious? Yeah. Joe McCarthy? Oh, you want to talk about going out to the graveyard and digging up some garbage. There you go. And it's something about liberals and blah, blah, blah. I thought, does anybody really know how horrible this man was and how many people he destroyed with his stupid communist hunt? God, please.
It was a mess. That's what we're trying to get to. And unfortunately, but you know what? We won't let it happen.
No, please don't. And Jack has a whole page of wisdom here. So I think we should get to that.
Brother Jack.
Good morning, Egberto. How are you?
Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
I've been thinking about disaster capitalism here lately. Mm-hmm. Disaster capitalism is why our conservative politicians are making our world less safe. When I got my little car inspected, I was shocked. All the inspector did was hook up to the car's computer and do an emissions check. It passed. The inspector didn't check the brakes, brake lights, headlights, tires, anything. I questioned the inspector, and he said it wasn't required anymore. And he agreed it was making the road less safe. Another aspect is the defensive meteorological satellite info is no longer available to many forecasters. And along with the fact that many forecasters' jobs have been cut by Trump and Doge, Texas has already experienced a weather-related disaster that took many young lives here in Kerr County. Now, imagine Houston getting hit by a Cat 5 hurricane with a very weak FEMA response. A disaster that the disaster capitalists will cash in on while the people suffer.
I think if a Cat 5 was headed here, I would be somewhere in Oklahoma.
No doubt. But
that this city...
Everybody doesn't have that option.
This city does not have the ability nor the structure to withstand anything more than a Cat 2.
It's crazy because that is the thing that I've been, one of the things that I wrote it in, I think the same piece I did about what Doge was doing. And that had to do with, imagine a Cat 5 going up the ship channel. We're not the eye, but the dirty side of a Cat 5 going up the ship channel. I was told by a politician when I asked him about a friend of mine, I said, what about what happens when something hits the ship channel? He said, I'm more concerned about other places around Houston because the ship channel is well taken care of. I don't know why too often we have faith that these corporations are going to have things taken care of. If we have a Cat 5 hit up the channel, I'm not just concerned about the factories, but what the damage done by that factories are going to do to the land around these miles of refineries, to the environment that people are going to have to live in. So, you're right, Jack. There's so much just waiting to happen, and you wonder.
Well, it's a system of making money and paying off cronies to clean it all up and get all that money. So it's they're making the world less safe for good old profit.
But you know what? Whereas a lot of folks are feeling despair, I went to Neil Aquino was the host, was actually the facilitator with two judges. They're talking about bail and all these other lies that's been spoken about our judges in town, and they are starting to, in a legal manner, because they can't talk about their cases or anything like that, but in a legal manner, they were out there informing the public of the truth about what with bail and what the laws say about releasing people, etc. And during that discussion, there was one man. He is so frustrated with what's happening in the country right now with Donald Trump and what he's doing, not only physically to the country, but mentally to the country. And since you started that way, I want to play. I just took a clip. I told him last night. I said the quality. First of all, let me tell you guys, the quality of the sound is not the best. But I want to play what this guy had to say last night, because after listening to him, I said, man, I think our entire audience need to hear somebody who served the sphere and the voice and the way in which you said it needs to be heard. So I'm going to tell you what, before I continue this discussion, let me just play that. It's just a minute long. And what he had to say, and you have to listen keenly, because it's not quite, it's hard to understand.
I've got a comment that ends up in the question, and this is a 50,000 foot comment. The question is probably beyond what you all do in the judiciary, which I very much appreciate. I'm a veteran in high school. Two of my brothers went to Vietnam. One came. When I graduated, at 18, I had to do something to keep myself out of Vietnam. So I joined the Navy. I ended up on a nuclear submarine in the North Pacific. I've seen Russia through periscope nuclear submarine. I've been on a nuclear submarine chased by Russian submarines. And now I see our commander-in-chief ordering our troops to roll out the red carpet for KGB agents. Waving at him, slapping, and kissing his ass. I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. What can you or anybody else at this table tell me to give me some hope? Be able to get back to sleep. 3 o'clock in the morning. If I don't know where this will go in this business.
Okay, let me kind of explain what he said. He said, I served, my two brothers went to Vietnam. Only one came back. When it was time for me to serve, I served in I joined the Navy. I was on a nuclear sub. I saw Russia through the periscope of that submarine. We were guarding, in effect, we were guarding these areas. And then he says, it hurts me, it irks me that I had to watch my fellow soldiers roll out the red carpet for this ex-KGB agent that had done so much damage. I can't sleep at night watching where my country is going with this autocrat. Please tell me, what can you guys tell me that is gonna allow me to sleep at 3 in the mornings, not wake up at 3 in the mornings in a sweat? I'm so sorry I didn't have a better mic at his mouth, because he was so sincere in the way he said it, Howard and Jack. He was so sincere in what he meant. Like, you mean after we've changed as a country, after we've done all of this, you mean we've revolved into this? You know what I mean, guys? It was like, you know what I mean? And then we have Howard talking about people trying to reconstitute what Joe McCarthy was all about. That's crazy.
I think Egberto, that whoever posted that just didn't know who Joe McCarthy was.
Yeah,
they were taking a swipe at liberals, and they had a quote about him saying something about liberals. I don't think that they knew the history of Joe McCarthy, or they would have never posted something like that. It's like posting something, taking a swipe at liberals by using a picture of Hitler or Mussolini. So I really don't think they know who Joe McCarthy was, the surroundings and everything, and all the destruction that he did. The House on Un-American Activities, House Committee on Un-American Activities, was horrible. Yeah, I mean, it drug people out. It ruined careers. It ruined people. Why would you want to say anything or post anything about Joe McCarthy? That's just sick.
Exactly. So, I mean, that is interesting. But I see Betty's on the line. So before I go to my soliloquy, let me go ahead and get to Betty. Betty, how you doing, sis?
I'm okay. Hi, Egberto. Good morning.
Good morning.
Like I told Jack, let me call in and get this over with, But anyway, I can't feel my head all up, all day, all up with Trump. He's turned his back on everything we hold dear. So every morning I raise my skirt and give them a big blow off, a good laugh heals. And on Epstein, it's inner sanctum time. They moved Maxwell to another place. So many rumors. Some say Trump is building a bunker in D.C. How can I sit and say things about America when it is our green acres, our body and soul? And I want to say this to you, Egberto. The kids love Ashley. I love her too. She has gumption. She's not a quitter. Salute her for me. Bye, y'all.
Thank you, sis. Love that. And I'll make sure to tell Ashley that. Thank you. Anyway, folks, let me say this. Welcome aboard, Joe from Los Angeles, California. Jacqueline Campisi, the professor, the teacher, the woman with the most important job in the world. How you doing, Jacqueline Campisi from Katy, Texas. Lisa Blair from Atlanta, Georgia. On the Substack, which came in late, we got Sandra Dingler, Carol Q, Matthew Brogin, Mary Adamski, and others. Thank you guys for being here. I tell you what, I'm going to start. I interviewed let me tell you who I have hope in. I have a lot of hope in our Gen Z brothers and sisters because they have seen what many have done to our millennials. The millennials are, believe it or not, are one of the generations that are dying faster than anyone else. They're the ones that have suffered the ills of our economic system more so than anybody else, as they are not getting theirs, if you will. But Gen Zs, I guess they're seeing that and they're holding the bull by the horns. And I interviewed, what's his name? Justin Pearson. Justin Pearson was kicked out of the Tennessee Congress, the Tennessee legislature, and he went ahead and they put him back in. He went ahead and ran again, and they put him back in. Again, this guy is an outspoken person. He's an outspoken person that means business, and he didn't just start when he was in the legislature. He started when he was 15 years old, when he stopped a pipeline from going through, I think it was a pipeline from going through his neighborhood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out playing Justin Pearson, and then we'll move on from there. We'll talk about nihilism and conservatism. Let's go ahead and play this. Welcome to another edition of Politics and Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Today, I have a special guy. I just found him roaming. We're talking about Justin Pearson.
It's so good to see you.
State rep from Tennessee.
Absolutely.
How you doing, my friend?
I am doing fantastic. Good to be here with you.
You know, the amount of times I've watched you on TV giving the system hell.
Yeah.
Have really made me proud of the new generation. people, we have this young man here. He won his election twice.
3 times.
3 times, because actually you got recalled and you had to get reelected.
Absolutely.
And they tried to get rid of him because he's outspoken and because he stands up for his constituencies, because he stands up for his country and his state, Tennessee. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Well, I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. I lived outside of D.C. for a little while. My dad went to Howard University and got his master's degree before moving back home. I got into activism and advocacy when I was 15 years ago in high school, demanding textbooks for myself and my peers. And since then, I've just continued to build on the work that we deserve more. And we need more investment. We need more care. We need more concern about our issues, about our communities. And it will be 5 years ago where a $1 billion company, a Valero Oil Refinery and Plains All American, came into our neighborhood and said, we're going to build a 49-mile pipeline through this black neighborhood. And I started to organize and galvanize with our community, black folks, white folks, my predecessor, Dr. Barbara Cooper, and others, to defeat the project. And we won. And we were successful. And when she passed away in 2022, I wanted to continue her legacy and work both in the environment. And now I do that work with Bold Alliance to dealing with some of the other issues impacting our community, like gun violence. It's been the honor of my life serving this district.
Tell us a little bit about what happened with the state legislature when the good old boys try to get you, I think Justin Jones and
Gloria Johnson. Yeah. I mean, March 27, 2023, the largest mass shooting in Tennessee history happened at the Covenant School, a private Christian school. And 6 people were killed. 3 of them were 9-year-old children. After that happened, it was actually the day that I was fully sworn in to be a state representative after the general election. And 7,000 people came to the Capitol the next time we were there. No Republican even recognized them. We weren't allowed to recognize them and thank them for being there or anything like that. And Justin, Gloria, and I knew we had to do something. We got all these people who just want to be seen, who want to be heard. We're being denied. Our mics are being cut off. Justin and I's voting machines being turned off. And so we went to the well of the House floor and said, we have to listen to these thousands of people who've gathered asking for us to do something. 71%
Your constituents.
Our constituents. 71% of people in Tennessee, including MAGA Republicans, want for there to be more gun safety laws, like red flag laws that say, you know what, if you're having a mental health crisis, you probably shouldn't have access to a firearm. MAGA Republicans including. Right. And so why aren't we passing more just laws to deal with that? The majority of people who are family farmers or who are living in places where there's more flooding happening, there's hotter days leading to more heat strokes. We just had a young boy, 16 years old, die from a heat stroke playing football in Memphis, Tennessee. The extreme weather incidences requires people to say, what are we going to do about our climate? What are we going to do about our environment? And the people who are in position of power are refusing to listen, are refusing to be engaged, refusing to be activated. And so that's our work. That's our responsibility now.
Well, I mean, and why did they? Now, you guys went out and protested. We did. And what did the legislature do?
Exactly. So we went to the well of the House floor and protested, listened to the people who had gathered. And a week later, Justin and I were expelled. Gloria, who is white, was spared from expulsion. But we both lost our seats and had to be reinstated.
So let's get this clear. The Tennessee legislature expelled 2 duly elected
That's correct.
state representatives
That's correct.
from the legislature.
That's exactly right.
And you had to run again in what you call these elections.
Yes, in a primary and a general election. We had to do both.
To reclaim your seat.
To reclaim our seat. And both of us wanted to run again. Both of us did run again. Both of us won. And before that, we were reappointed, actually, by our local legislative bodies who said, you know what? It was unjust that you all were expelled in the first place. Go back. And we did.
So, I mean, you all around it was just a sham that they attempted.
Oh, it was a complete sham. I mean, they are beholden to the National Rifle Association, the Tennessee Firearms Association, folks like that. They don't care about the people. They're not concerned about how we end this gun violence epidemic that is killing people every single day. Right now, in the United States of America, more children die from gun violence than anything else. Cancer or car wrecks used to be the things that people were most terrified about with young children under the age of 18. It's not the case anymore. It's bullets. That's how our kids are dying, from bullets. Whether they be intentional shootings, whether they be by suicide, whether they be homicides, we are losing our next generation due to gun violence that is completely and utterly preventable.
And the Tennessee legislature comprised of people who claim to be right, that they believe in the sanctity of life,
right,
are the ones that are not passing these laws that even MAGA Republicans want.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is really important for us to realize in our politics. When it comes to issues like clean energy, and I do work with Bold Alliance, and I am helping to lead a movement leaders hub, bringing together state and local leaders. And what I'm realizing, talking to these folks from all across the country, is this. These Republicans aren't beholden to the people. They're beholden to corporations. Their laws aren't about legislation for their constituents. Mm-hmm. It's about laws for the lobbyist. Mm-hmm. And that's why our politics is so going in such the wrong direction. It's because we are not centering the people in the lawmaking.
What's interesting, Justin, is, and you're young enough to be able to break the mold of what the old Democratic Party was. The old Democratic Party would just stay in Memphis. The old Democratic Party would just stay in Nashville. They won't expand themselves to, let's say, many of the rural areas, when we know that many of these rural areas controlled by these folks who care nothing about them.
That's right.
If you go in there and show that you care.
That's right.
You care. They may actually start listening to you instead of listening to the consultants up in Washington that says, if we peace here and peace there.
Right.
Expand on that.
You can't take away the authenticity of being concerned about the lives of people. I mean, I've had the good fortune to travel to Nebraska, right? Meeting folks on their family farms that they've had and that they homesteaded, right? And talk about issues related to indigenous communities as well as, homesteading and the conflicts there. I've been, whether it be in Maine or in Memphis, the issues that we are concerned about are similar. And if we continue to put people at the center, operate with the level of compassion, and speak plainly and clearly about what we believe needs to happen in order for us to live into the type of society we want, we're going to be all right. But if we think that we can pay all these consultants to tell us how to have authentic conversation, to tell us how to knock a door and meet somebody where they're at, we're never going to be successful. I don't think that there's a steel worker. I don't think that there's a farmer. I don't think that there's LGBTQIA advocate out of New York that I can't talk to. We got to just be able to have conversation because we want the same things.
Right. It is amazing because that we have to break out of doing things the way it has always been done.
That's exactly right.
And that is why I am putting so much value and putting so much effort in saying, guys like Justin Pearson, thank you. You guys are doing the real job, and keep holding the bull by the horns and not listening to what the others are trying to tell you to keep a low profile. You got to go out there and do just what you're doing right now.
I thank you for making it possible, but thank you for also elevating it, because that's the other thing. We got to have some backup and some support when we do those things, because
you got it here, brother. You got it here, brother. You got it here. But let me tell you this. Tell me what should I have asked you that I didn't?
Oh, that's a great question. I think one of my biggest motivations for being in this fight, being in this movement for justice rooted in love, is family. And, I was fortunate a couple of weeks ago to get married to the love of my life, Ocean Gilliam Pearson. But also I have 3 nephew sons who I'm helping to raise, have parents, brothers, and a community that's just extraordinary. And we always have to remember not just what we're fighting against, right? Authoritarianism and white supremacy and fascism and capitalistic exploitation and plantation economics, right? There's a lot of things that we're fighting against. But we always have to remember, what are we fighting for? Because it will be that sustains us in these difficult moments and times. And so those are some things I'm fighting for.
State Representative, Tennessee State Representative, Justin Pearson. Let me tell you, first of all, 1, I'm proud by you.
Thank you.
Of you. 2, I'm inspired by you.
God bless you.
And 3, you go kick some, you know what.
Absolutely. Let's do it
Thank you, my
together.
brother.
Thank you so
All right,
much.
you
I
take
appreciate you.
All right. All right, that is Justin Pearson. Read up about him. He is a young Gen Z state rep out of Tennessee, got to national acclaim when he was kicked out of the legislature in Tennessee, and they put him right back in and saying, this is our guy. That's what democracy looks like. Let's go to Moses before I go on to the conservative rant.
Oh.
Good morning, Moses.
¿Cómo estás? I'm mixing French with Spanish. ¿Cómo estás?
Estoy muy bien, corazón. Estoy muy bien. Talk to me.
Okay. I'm going to make this plea after I listen to that first thing from the veteran you spoke to.
Yes, yes.
I'm making this plea to Americans. Americans. Whites, blacks, especially our white brothers and sisters. How can you suffer this insult of the blood of the veterans of the First World War, Second World War, Vietnam, Cambodia, and all the wars? How could you suffer this insult to the blood of your men who gave their lives to stop Hitler from bringing this contagion to America? As this veteran said, how could you encourage Mr. Trump to spread the red carpet to Vladimir Putin in Alaska, Russia, America? Can you remember? How long will you keep cutting your nose to spite your face? How have you allowed yourself to follow this cult of evil, to disrespect the blood of the military veterans who gave their lives so that this did not happen here? And now we see the military doing the same thing that our great-great-grandfathers of the First, Second World War and all the others went to fight to prevent it from coming to America. And now we see the same thing that they spent their blood for. It is happening in the streets of America at the hands of the American military. America, especially white America, put aside that cultish behavior. Do not follow a man. Follow what you know is right. You have a Bible in your hand. I don't have to say more than that. Please, white Americans, think what you are doing to the blood of those who gave their lives so this did not happen here in this 21st century. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that. Let me tell you, Moses, I've got quite a bit to say about that. But beforehand, I want to make something clear. Here is the issue. Right now, Donald Trump is doing a whole lot of stuff to distract. Here is what I want folks to understand. Crime rates, the big launch in crime occurred under Donald Trump during the pandemic. And now he wants to claim that he has the right to come in and clean it up with the military. It's all a distraction. The military can't do the job. The job has to be done with investments in these local police, not local police only, but in social programs that mitigate the real problem. Conservatives like to laugh at things like that. But when we had things like midnight basketball, and when we had things to keep people that don't have the right kind of supervision, when we gave these kids, when people things to do, people a job, take them out of poverty, all these things go down, because the genesis of crime, the genesis of these behaviors, the genesis of what we have with the fentanyl epidemic, the genesis of all of that is a certain type of despair. And until we understand that, then we are spinning our wheels. We're just building jails. And you know what? You build the jail, you're just building a house that allows people to learn how to do more wrong. You invest in education, you invest in feeding them, you invest in educating them, you invest in giving them value, and the despair is gone. That is the one thing that our system has not taught our system to do. Okay, now, yesterday, I think it was yesterday, David Brooks, well known, actually it was on the 21st earlier this week, David Brooks wrote an article titled The Rise of Right-Wing Nihilism. And what he wanted to, the premise of his article was that, first of all, David Brooks is a well-known, long-time conservative guy who've always been pushing conservative issues. And one of the things he has come to the conclusion of, and let me read, I think, his first paragraph. He said, Democratic friends, let's try a thought experiment. Imagine you woke up one morning and all your media sources were produced by Christian nationalists. You sent your kids off to school and the teachers were espousing some version of Christian nationalism. You turned on your sport network and your late night comedy and everyone was preaching Christian nationalism. That's a bit how it feels to be more conservative in the West today, to feel drenched by a constant downpour of progressive sermonizing. What would you do in such a circumstance? Well, at least at first, you probably grit your teeth and take it a while silently seething. In 2018, I happened to watch the Super Bowl at a sports bar in West Virginia. President Trump was about a year into his first term, and the corporate advertising world was churning out ads with vaguely progressive messages. I watched the guys in the bar sort of hunch over, grim face, their body language saying, this is the crap we have to put up with to watch a football game. The next year, I helped organize the Conference of People Building Local Communities. We made sure that at least 30% of the participants were from red states. But during our discussion, the progressives in the room seemed to assume that everybody there thought like them. They dominated the conversation and left almost no space for other opinions. I watched the red state folks hunch over. For 3 days, they barely spoke. This progressive conservative disconnect, which is also frequently an elite-non-elite disconnect, is a problem across the West. For reasons I don't fully understand, educated elites are more socially progressive than non-elites. I pause at his commentary there. If you see what he's trying to do, he's trying to say, yes, I know conservatives have gone off the wire. They have become nihilists. They've become, many are white nationalists. Many are, and you can go through the different gradations of conservatism. And then he says they have become these destructive nihilists. If you read further in his article, he's saying these destructive nihilists come to pass because of you progressives. And what is it that hurts these folks so badly of what progressives represent? Can progressive be cocky? Yes. But can conservatives be cocky? Yes. Have you been to a evangelical church recently? They say that progressives are stuffing things down people's ears, nose, that they don't want to hear. They're tired of hearing. It's like suffocating with all that goody two-shoes stuff from progressives. Okay, let's pause for a minute. What are they upset about? They're upset about, and by the way, conservatives, progressives, right-wingers all want their families doing well. All want to make enough money to support themselves. They want all these things. Yes, they do. But what about progressives is it that these right-wingers and conservatives don't like? They don't like that we try at least to be honest with our history. They don't like that the things we support makes it that we don't have a undeserved dominant culture, and undeserved, in other words, that by the color of your skin, by your gender, that you are unable to have certain stature in our society, not based on your merit, but based on some physicality of yours. These are the things that progressives are for. We want to make sure all have equal access to success. But that offends so many who believe they should have a privilege above others, that they are better than others, that somehow they, in a land that pretty much was taken, that somehow they are morally superior, etc. And if you want to hold those beliefs, of course it's going to be annoying listening to progressives tell you that's not what we need to do. We need to do it the right way. We need to do the right things, of course. So now David Brooks is saying the suffocation caused by progressives introspecting and saying we have to have everybody with equal access to success. We have to have everybody have an opportunity to thrive. That is to them an affront on all they believe in, an affront that makes people believe others. But here's the thing about it. If you were to go into these people's humanity and you sit down and had a talk and talk to them one-on-one, you would realize that 98% of the things that you want and you believe in, they're saying the same thing as well. So how can that disconnect have where we have these people feel so exasperated having to listen to progressives? What is there? And that's where the manipulation of the mind comes in. You see, progressives believe in progress. Most Americans, including people who deem themselves conservatives, aren't really conservative at all. But what helps, what works, or what doesn't work is if all these people start to think critically and start together to realize this is how we need to make things to make it better for everybody, and that making it better for everybody is good for everybody. That is in conflict with those who rule our society. That is in conflict with what allows them to continue their undeserved rule, their undeserved gains, their undeserved billions. Because if we start to ask ourselves, and if we start to come together and start doing things right, they cannot exist. And why can't they exist? Because they are profiting from what they didn't earn. And critically thinking will bring that up. So what these guys have done is they have gone to the nihilist. They've gone to the conservatives. They've gone to the right-wingers. They've gone to the MAGA. Oh, they didn't really go to them. They created them. They didn't go to them. They created them. They created a Rush Limbaugh and gave him a platform. He lives by nothing he preaches. but he made millions. They created they created all these people to create dissension. They created all these people that tell you, even though geology tells you the world is millions of years old, 4 billion years old, that somehow it is 6,000 years old. And they want you to sit back and just accept it. Accept that women are not as good as men. Accept that blacks and indigenous folk and brown folks are not as good as white folk. Accept that women must be subservient to men. They want you to just accept it. And if you're not accepting it, you're speaking against these folks. If you don't accept that our economic system isn't based on merit, but based on something else. If you don't accept that teachers are less valuable than stockbrokers, if you don't accept that your worth is no more than that of a janitor as well, because we are all necessary in one economic system. They want you to think in these different levels of gradation that put some at an undeserved privilege. And because by nature, and by the way, progressives have their ills. I mean, a lot of the isms that affect our society at large affect progressives. But the difference between the progressive mind and the conservative mind is the progressive is going to say, oh God, I have these ills. I've got to fix it. We got to fix it. And it's not a personal thing. It's a societal thing. It's a systemic thing that needs to be fixed. It's acknowledged. And David Brooks's piece now he's complaining about conservatives. Now he's mad at conservatives. Now he realizes that conservatives are destroying everything that we've built, because we have been moving this country to a more free country, a country where more people have equal access to success, a country where we all respect everyone's humanity. And he's seeing that the nihilists, conservatives, Christian nationalists, white supremacists are all in not even to offer something, but just bring down and destroy. He sees it now. David Brooks, who've written columns from the time I came to this darn country, written columns about the perfection of conservatism, something that one would only see have prismed colored glasses. One can only see it then. One could only see it then. Now he's recounting all that he believed in. And how does he feel better about himself? By saying it is progressives with their annoying goody two-shoeness, with their annoying talk about equality, with their annoying talk about women's liberation, with their annoying talk about racial equity, about their annoying talks about all that is good, stuff that Jesus would preach. Somehow it's their fault that these guys turned bad and now want to destroy everything. Wow. First, you're progressive for doing right. Now you're so good at being a progressive that you're stifling the conservatives. But then again, you go into your doctor's office in red states and all you watch is Fox News. All you watch is OAN. All you watch is Newsmax. All you hear on talk radio is right-wing crap. But somehow it is progressives, the one that is messing with the minds of people. Come on, David Brooks. Let's look at reality. The reality is that we have allowed, to put it bluntly, progressives have dropped the ball in allowing all these radio stations to have one message. We are smothered into a message of inequity. We are smothered in messages of racial angst. We are smothered in messages that try to put women in their places. We are smothered with messages that go against us for wanting an environment that we can all live in. We are smothered in those who give us fallacies about climate science and so much more. And they are the victims? No. We have to be like Brother Justin Pearson. Take the bull by the horns, disregard the mess, disregard what Trump is trying to do. And let's go ahead and inform. It is imperative that we do that. Do not buy into the fallacy. Do not buy into Trumpism. And let's lift our heads up high and make the change. Let's not sit back in despair and think that somehow they've won. Things are over. We have military in the streets. Those folks in the streets call the military and the guards. They are your brothers, your sisters, your friends, and everything else. They won't go against you as long as they know you're not against them. Let's wake up and not fall for the fallacies that somehow we're too damn progressive and we somehow need to tag to some false center because we are somehow offending folks. I don't care if I'm offending somebody who doesn't believe in equity. I don't care if I'm offending somebody who doesn't believe in women's rights and women's own power. I don't care if I'm offending someone who wants to poison me through the environment. I don't mind offending those who are sitting back there and letting the climate and doing things that affect the climate. No, we stand up and we fight for what's right. We fight for the equitable. We fight for what's right. Jimmy, come on in.
To be active with Texans for gun safety, and we learned that homes with guns have triple the homicide rate and 5 times the suicide rate of homes without guns. And that is because of the easy access to a gun when somebody gets angry or depressed. Keep guns out of your home. We read too many stories about men who shoot their wives and then shoot themselves. That would not be happening if there was no gun in the house. I would not allow a gun in my house, and I urge other people to get rid of your guns. They are the source of murder and suicide.
You're absolutely right, Jimmy. And the thing about it is, it is always that what folks are saying now is that people, telling people statistics and numbers, they forget it in a few minutes, right? But they don't forget that Johnny had a depression, and because he had access to a gun, he shot himself. So they don't forget the story about all those kids being gunned down, not statistics, but the story. And that is what I am having to learn as I'm doing this work, right? That you are so right with all the numbers that you just gave. But to a lot of folks, when you hear the numbers, it's just a lot of numbers they're hearing. But they know when that kid blow his head off and the skull and the brain matter splattered all over the room, that is something they remember. And when we tell them that happens a lot of times, and it happens if you have a gun in your home, they understand that a lot better than that is where it happens. So, brother, I appreciate the statement, and you're absolutely right. Anything else before I move on?
Well, I appreciate you talking about David Brooks. He came to Houston about a year ago and spoke at the organization that I go to. He's a good writer and a good speaker. So.
Yeah, he's a very good writer and a very good speaker. What irks me with the pieces that he's writing now is David Brooks have been a well-known conservative writer for a very long time. And a lot of stuff that he put out there, it was well-written crap. But the thing about it is conservatives weren't completely I shouldn't say conservatives, right-wing and MAGA folks weren't unhinged like what's occurring right now. And now that this conservative Brooks is seeing what has happened to his movement. He sits back down and he tries to find blame. And what does he blame? Progressives. Be for real. That's complete. That, to me, that takes away all his credentials he ever had for good writing. But thank you, Jimmy. Have a good day, my friend.
Thank you. You too, Egberto.
Take care. All right, let's go to Brian. Brian, come on in. Is Brian there? Okay, seems like Brian is not there. That's fine. I guess go ahead and hang it up. Thank you, my brothers. Look, let me tell you something, guys. That article, Judy says, David Brooks want to pretend that he had no part in the current S show. You're right about that. Adam says, if euthanasia were to be legalized in all states, maybe the suicide rate by gunshot would drastically decline. I'm not sure, Adam, because I think people do the gun thing when they are in despair. I don't think it's like euthanasia is usually a planned thing. Like, I am sick. I have certain types of illnesses. I don't want to live in this form. So I want to have a humane way to end my life because, in my opinion, it's not worth living. So there are things like that. Now, people that kill themselves usually are in despair or something like that. And the gun is available at the time that they are in despair. And if we had just given them some time before that despair, they would have lived on. Cowboy Hat says that must be progressives are most powerful than he ever imagined. What a irony, right, Cowboy Hats? All right, Brian, come on in.
Yeah, I'm back. I got to call you out on something you said yesterday. There's $20,000 electric vehicles from China in Jamaica.
12,000.
That's not true at all.
I'm not asking you. I have a friend who bought one,
that's
sir.
That's not true at all.
Okay. I have a friend who bought one.
I need to talk about.
Wait, no, stop. No. Oh, wait. No, you're going to stop because you're not going to come on here and call me a liar. I have a friend who bought a particular version of a electric car, $12,000, and that you go ahead and tell me it's a lie. No, it's you don't come on my ear and tell me that something that has been factually done is a lie. You don't have that privilege to do that. You understand? And don't do that again. Now move on.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's move on to the solar panels that Trump shut down. It was 80% complete. Those were done under national security. They had kill switches from China. There's also transformers from China.
All right, Brian, goodbye. Eddie, come on in, Eddie. I mean, I'm not going to sit down here and listen to this stupor. Eddie, come on in.
Well, I'm just calling to say, like, your view of conservatives and Republicans is way off. And David Cook's article was just kind of proved by one of your last callers. I mean, David Brooks is saying, always feel like this we're being preached at, like we're doing something terribly wrong.
Okay, let me stop you right there and ask you a question. If you're doing something terribly wrong, I am not going to hold my tongue and call it out. And I mean, what happens is conservatives want to do things that are terribly wrong and not get called out about it.
Your last caller said, get rid of all the guns.
That's not what he said. He didn't say that at all.
Yes, he said, take guns out of everyone's house. I think we should get rid of guns in everyone's house. That's what he said. My guns have never shot anybody. My guns have never harmed my kids. I store my guns safely. They're locked and unloaded. I'm a responsible gun owner. Why come for my guns?
Okay, and that's the thing. And that's a fallacy, Eddie. I don't want to come for your guns. You're a responsible gun owner and you do the right things. I don't have a problem with that. I respect you for that, Eddie. Let me tell you what I have a problem for. I have a problem that if I decide to make a law that says people need to be as responsible as Eddie is, that the gun lobby comes out and tell me I can't do it. That's the issue. And that's a nuance that too many don't see. I mean, you are responsible and you call yourself a conservative, correct?
I do.
Okay. And I bet you believe most of the stuff that I believe in. I bet you can't tell me much that you believe in that I don't. I bet you can't tell me much that I believe in that you don't.
I bet you're very true. The problem is the way we get to where we agree are very different. I'm against abortion. I imagine you're for abortion.
Let me stop you right there. No, let me stop you right there because you're right. Let's see, how do we handle that problem? You're right. You're against abortion. You see, you have a daughter, a mother, a sister, a brother, a family. So in your circle, that can be fine. But just like you don't think absolutely about guns, people don't feel absolutely about abortion. And all we're saying, if your sect and so forth believe that is fine. You have the freedom to do that. We don't want you to remove the freedom from others. And I think when expressed in that fashion, even you would have to agree.
But that's not what your side preaches. Your side preaches you have to do what I say, disregard what I say at all.
Eddie, can I tell you that is what the media would like you to believe, our side believe. That is, and it's not really our side. I mean, my side. It is our sides because, like I said, we think mostly alike. What I'm telling you, Eddie, is they create these false divisions by making you believe we are trying to get you to do things that you don't want to do. You believe in, that is the magic of how we were propagandized through the Powell memo. But look, I'm out of time, Eddie, but this was a good call. Let's call me again earlier, all right?
Sure will.
Thank you. Let's go to Terrence. Terrence, you got about 30 seconds.
Hello?
Yeah, 30 seconds, Eric. I'm out of time.
Oh, only 30 seconds. Well, I'm calling in here because I want to promote, I want to talk about space travel, something different.
Okay, we can't do it right now, but thank you so kindly. Call me tomorrow, all right? All right, folks, look, let me throw it back to the studio.
Oh, now Republican senators sound warning about Trump's move towards socialism. Oh, my.
Imagine that, owning a lot of companies now, right? I got to make that one a full subject. But anyhow,
and I just want to say that progressives don't, they didn't drop the ball. We're all here. And it's just that there are less of us that are in power, I think, than the others, the conservatives right now.
Thank you very much, sis. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Anyway, folks, we got to get out of here. I love you all. The rest of the program is at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. You can reach me at kpft@politicsdoneright.com. Love you all. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out. Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willies.